Good evening, booze, and happy St. Patrick's Day. And you know what? I think my VPN is on again. Every time I think I've shut this stupid thing off, it comes back on all by itself. So I'm gonna just double check either that or the 2, 3 inches of snow that we got last night. Yes, I said snow. We had a blizzard, and my kid had a snow day on St. Patrick's Day, and I don't think that should be allowed. I'm pretty sure after March 1st that stuff should be done. Um, and no, my VPN's not on, so it's just crappy internet tonight, guys, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna be glitchy. I hope it doesn't bother anybody, but it looks like my picture's actually kinda clear tonight for once, which is a good thing I did some makeup, because otherwise you guys could see my gigantic pores, but yeah. Anyway, so hello everybody. Welcome to our first St. Patrick's Day stream. I'm excited because I can actually show you guys some cool things about Ireland and cemeteries in Ireland because I've been there and I'm excited. So, yeah, some of these holidays I probably don't have a whole lot to go with them. So, this one I do. Um, and I'm pretty proud. I'm not all Irish. I'm mostly Scottish. That's the red hair. However, um, I do have a let's see, three-time great granny came from County Wicklow, and she was, orphaned by the famine, and she became what they called an Irish famine bride, and because she was a lucky lady to have survived, starving to death, like the rest of her family did, she got picked to get shipped out to Australia and become a bride with all these other poor, orphaned girls from Dublin and the surrounding area, and you would probably ask, "Well, Tombstones, you're not Australian." Well, she got, from Australia back to England and then wound up in the great state of Michigan, and she had a pretty darn for her day and age, she was well traveled, to say the least. So, I'm pretty proud of, my three-time great granny, for having decided to leave Australia and leave Ireland and England, because she left all 3 of those countries and came to Michigan, and thank God she did, because I wouldn't be who I am. I'd I'd be a different weirdo, but I'd still be a weirdo, I'd just be a little different. Just have less Irish in me. But yes, and so, I've put together some photos of my own photos, and then I've gone and borrowed a few off of, the internet, and of course, I'm going to link all of those in the show notes, so if you guys are interested in going and checking out anything, that I'm talking about tonight, please do. Ireland is a beautiful country. Um, I've been 3 times, and I'm gonna go again, and I'll probably go at least 3, 4 more times before I die. Unless I live to be old, and then I'll probably go even more than that because I just love it. It's a beautiful country. Probably one of the few countries that actually still like Americans and think we're fun. A lot of places don't, and I kinda don't really blame them either sometimes, but anyway, I'm gonna pop over into chat, I'm gonna say hi to you guys, and then I'll get started with some pretty pictures and some pretty stories. I'm gonna talk about, St. Patrick tonight. And then I'm gonna start off with St. Patrick, and then I'm going to show you some other cemeteries, some other places that I've been. I've got loads more photos, but they are on 2 different at least 2 different computers, and I did go through and try to grab all the ones I could, because I didn't even get this bright idea till Sunday night, and it was a little late. Don't do that camera, okay. I've had this thing behaving for, like, a couple streams now, and I think it's just gonna get out of control again on me. So, Jen says, "Come on over and kiss her because she's Irish and, she may be drunk." Have one for me, Jen, 'cause I can't stream and drink because it would probably turn into a total fiasco, but I'm going to have a glass of wine after I'm finished tonight, so it is chilled and it's ready in the refrigerator. I don't drink green beer. My very first, when I first turned 21, St. Patrick's Day was my first night out, and I just vomited so much green beer. No, never again. Maybe I've got a thing with green food coloring, I don't know. It's the only time I've ever been severely ill. Of course, I did consume quite a large amount of green beer, so that could be the problem as well, but ever since then, yeah, I don't do that anymore. I just don't drink it. Has bad memories for me, and, I don't know, anytime you vomit something, you just don't want it again, ever. So, I mean, I drink other things now, so, yep, and I did put a disclaimer up here for everybody, Jen is drinking, so warning. And hello, adventurers, and welcome. Um, I hope some of you guys tuned in on Saturday. Adventures took us on the coolest cemetery walkthrough, and I you know, I don't know, I like to say it takes a lot to, like, shock me, but cemeteries do it for me. I know, guys, I've said that's why I'm here. I get very excited when I go to a new cemetery and I start looking around and I'm like, "Oh my god, I gotta go here," and I wanna see this one, and Adventures is the same way. So, guys, please go Darlene dropped the links here, so, hit Adventures, go give them a follow and subscribe and check out some of his videos. It was really cool. I think he gets just as excited as I do. I think he did say he was like a kid in a candy store. Darlene coined the term already, morbid kid in a morbid candy store. I think that's got to go on a t-shirt. I think we're going to make that happen. I think I'm going to make that happen. But I've been so busy that I have not got around to, I mean, I've still got some old merch in there, but, don't buy any of that yet, guys. I'm gonna change it up and put some new channel stuff on there, so and make it better. But, yeah, that morbid kid in the morbid candy store. I hope Darlene doesn't mind, but I am gonna borrow that because I think it would look fantastic on a t-shirt. But, yeah, we were watching I was watching him go through this cemetery and I wanted to be there, like, so badly. It was correct me if I'm wrong, Adventures, but I think it was Magnolia Cemetery, and it was in Mobile, Alabama, and it was s couple of the crypts there, the mausoleums, wowzers. I can't so go check out I think his live is still up there, go check it out and watch it, if it is, because you're gonna see some really very cool monuments, some very old Victorian ones too, so go check them out. Um, it's now on my list of places to go. Um, Alabama hasn't been big on my list, but it's moved up there now, so yeah, here we go. Maybe not in the summer though, because I think isn't Mobile right down there on the coast? I don't know. My hair looks really bad in the humidity, so, yeah, I kinda like it to stay down, not all. It gets really it gets out of control. Jen, you be proud. You be proud of being Irish. I'm proud of my Irish roots or root, I guess, since it's just the one great granny. But yeah, be proud being Celtic and Irish and hey, and Scottish too. You guys can be proud today. We're proud every day of the year though, I think. And yeah. Get out of the vertical world, but everybody get over to the horizontal. Hello, Cold and Covered. Oh my goodness. And you guys haven't checked out Cold and Covered as well. She does the best. She makes my Mondays worth getting up for. She puts together the best memes and the best music to go along with them, and they kill me every time. A lo Okay, alright, this camera's gonna be a dick tonight, so just bear with us, guys. You'll get to see my pretty flowers in the background here too, so, yeah. And hello, Blessed Owl, welcome over. I hope you like it here. And Ernie Birdie says, "Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone." And, uh, I forgot to eat today, so I was a couple minutes late because silly old girl here, I had a bowl of Lucky Charms. I know, how cliche, right? It's St. Patrick's Day, but really, I'm a child when it comes to cereal. Sure, I could eat Special K, but why? It's got the same amount of freaking calories in it as, the ones with marshmallows, so I'm just gonna get the ones with marshmallows. Um, and I love the marshmallows, especially the little rainbows that are inside, it's my favorite. Right, I'm gonna keep going down because you guys are way, way ahead of me, and don't worry, darling, I was a couple minutes late too. I had to gobble that cereal down or else you guys probably would have heard, you would have heard my tummy growling. It was I do this sometimes. I had, even though it was a snow day, I had a busy day. There's no snow days for moms. Yeah, I still had stuff to do. I wish I could have just stayed under the covers all day, but I could not. And hello, Sarah, and welcome. I'm gonna assume it's Sarah, right? Did I do it right? If not, just go along with it. I say crap wrong all the time, but tonight, guys, wait till you get my Irish. It's gonna be on point. I'm so happy, so excited. Ireland, right, Morg? Yay! And hello, Morg. And hello, Jean. Welcome. Yay! All the booze. We're all here tonight. Starving is bad. Ask the Irish. I figured it probably wouldn't have been a too good of a thing. Especially, you know, considering the yeah, I mean, my poor three-time great granny had to get shipped off to to Australia of all places. I mean, hey, someday I don't know how I'm gonna work that story in, but we gotta we gotta do that story because I never knew about famine brides. I don't know how many of you guys know about Irish famine brides that went to Australia. Uh, but it's cool as hell, and I think everyone should learn about it. You may have a Irish famine bride, great, great, great granny in your family tree and not even know it, like I did. I just assumed she came from Ireland. Well, she had a couple stops before she got over here, so yeah, but we'll talk about that at some point too, because it's very interesting, and you could probably I mean, we could probably say really I mean, yeah, do you wanna get shipped off and go to Australia and marry some dude you don't know? But hey, it was better than staying in Ireland and probably starving is probably what most of them thought, so, alright, I'm gonna keep going, Jen. Yay! Jen, I'm proud of you. You found it. You found the horizontal while you were drunk. So proud of you. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. Looks like everybody's just saying hello to each other, so I hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm saying hi to all of y'all because I hate missing anybody. Ooh, thank you. Yes, I did makeup tonight, so I feel kinda purty. I did a new lip stain, and I've got, some e.l.f. lip oil that I'm very excited about because it tastes like I don't know, it doesn't really taste like anything, but it smells like it should taste really good, but I'm not gonna eat it. I'm just gonna wear it on my lips, even though I wanna eat it because 'cause I'm a child. Alright, yeah, see, it's probably too much green food coloring, yeah, never again, and I swear to God, my mouth, and tongue, everything was green for, like, a week. Ew. Yes, Tansy, Tansy. she is decked out for St. Patrick's Day as well. She was all over my head until I hit the live button, and then she went and lay down on my pillow. Yeah, because she says, "I'm not your trick pony. I'm not here to perform for you." So she'll come over when she's damn good and ready to, I guess, but right now she's sleeping. Um, yes, in Ireland, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna skim, like, the surface of Irish history tonight. Um I'm not gonna get too far into it, like, even with St. Patrick that I'm gonna talk about here in a few if I ever get through the chat. I'm not gonna go too deep. I think most of us must bleh. It's just tea, guys, it's not yeah, and it's not even green. Oh god. I see, ooh, tell you what, um, I'm just gonna kinda most of us have heard the story of St. Patrick probably at some point or another. So I'm not gonna do a whole big story on him, because I wanna talk about where he died. So that's what we're gonna talk about because that's what this channel is about, how we bury people. I think that's what this channel is about. I really don't know. But that sounds good. So anything around death, dealing with death, people being buried, people dying of weird stuff, yeah, that's us, I guess. Yes, so 120 acres, that is huge. That's almost I think Rose Hill in Chicago is it like 140 acres? So it's just 20 acres shy, and that like I don't know, you can't do it. You can't do it in a day. I'm probably gonna have to go back there 20, 30 times before I ever finally get everything seen and videoed that I want. I don't know why I thought I was gonna go there in one day and do all this stuff. I have big ideas, they just don't quite work out well on paper, but and Darlene, thank you so much. You're top mod. You do such a great job. And you are in the horizontal. If that I hopefully that's where you want to be. Yeah, just come over here, everybody come over here, lay down. We're gonna have story time. Let me get down here and let's see. Did you do tatties? See, that's my Scottish coming out, the tatties, the nips and tatties. But I did not for so long. I did a crock pot corned beef and cabbage with carrots and potatoes. I haven't done it since my mom passed away, and I think I gotta get that I think I have to get that revived. I have to get that tradition revived. Not that any I'm gonna be the only one that probably eats it here. My kid definitely is not gonna eat corned beef, I know that, unless I can put it on pizza and make it look like pepperoni, but yeah. Um, let's see. Oh, what is this? Jen says, "I will have to share with you all, the visit to Jane McCree's final resting place in Hudson Falls, New York, right next door. She was a quintessential part in our revolution." I think I know who you're yeah, I think I know who you're bleh. I don't know, I didn't eat today, and I don't think I drank enough either, but yeah, Jen, please take us there. I want to know more, and I want to see it. I also wanna know why final is in little asterisks like that because that makes me think, did they move her around a little bit like they did Betsy Ross too? Because who knows where all of her is, spread out to a few different places, it sounds like, but, um, and Adventures wants to know if Jen has a channel. Jen probably should have a channel, and she should do one on Civil War stuff because she is a font of knowledge, and Jen, we still have to get together and talk because I have some civil I got a new book that I'm excited um, about the Battle of Chancellorsville and the Battle of the Wilderness. Woohoo! I know, guys, the things that get me excited are not typical things that get women excited, so, um I don't want koalas are dirty little bears. I don't want a koala, but, um, I definitely have to go to Australia at some point because I do have, my three-time great granny, she had a couple daughters before she had my great-great-grandpa, and one of them is buried there. She died as I think she was about a year old, and she has a headstone. She is in there's, like, a little infant cemetery where she's buried, and somebody so nice, went, like, on, Find a Grave. He kinda does what I do. We go out and people ask for photos of graves. You go out and you take a photo and you post it for them. He did one step more. He emailed me a bunch of photos because I don't just want a couple, like, this is for my part of my family history, so I've got binders full of photos and things, and I did want, like, multiple photos, so he just went all out and, yeah, got right up there on the headstone, took some really gorgeous photos for me, went out of his way. So, I'll have to show those at some point too, because it's really kind of a really cool little cemetery. Well, not actually little either, it's pretty good size, but they have a section just for infants. We were talking about, um, that period of time, the Victorian era, where so many children, I did go and look up, it was something like 20 to 30% of children, and this oddly enough, it was 20%, I think, in Britain during the Victorian era and 30% in the United States at the same time. So 20% and 30% of children or infants didn't make it to a year old, and something like another 30 to 40% didn't make it to their 5th birthday. And that seemed to be kinda universal, like, between England and the US. So, since we were talking about that, and a lot of the times, it didn't seem like it mattered if you were a rich family or a poor family, but, yeah, it's pretty sad, and this would have been about the same time that, my three-time great-granny, I how she had 7 children, she only lost 1. um so she did something, and she was transporting them around the world. So she did pretty good for a time period that a lot of children didn't make it, especially going on long sea voyages. I don't know how she managed that twice, but yeah, she hardened stuff, that lady must have been. If I could go back and meet somebody, it would probably be her because I wanna know how she got all these places, right? It's just kinda crazy. And yeah, typical Tansy, she wants to destroy, and then the camera comes on, and then she's all, "I gotta take a nap, I'm sorry," and then she's outta here, right? Um, and Morg says, "I would love to go to Australia, but not the other part." It's been on my list for years to go to. I just wish it wasn't so darn expensive, and I already Ireland and, like, when I've gone to Ireland and Scotland, like, that seems like a really long plane ride. I start getting antsy in the pants, like, mm, about halfway over the Atlantic. I am ready to get off, like, I'm done, time to go. Toombs wants off the plane, she wants to get out and explore. I don't know how I'm gonna do a really long flight like that. Um, I'll probably have to just take a lot of Xanax and then drink or something, which I don't recommend. I'm not recommending this. Disclaimer. Um, and neeps and tatties, I all right. Oh my gosh. Potatoes, they're the best. I wish they were better for you, but I just pretend that they are. I just pretend. I could fry them, hash brown them. Oh my gosh, just I love potatoes, but I can't eat them. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, Jen, for real? I don't think I've had an ancestor that's been scalped. That's pretty not that that's cool, but that's pretty neat. All right, I'm getting down to the bottom here. Okay, Jen, I gotta know more. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna pop down. Bum, bum, bum. Um, and yes, they're the babies that I just did for the Gruel family. Those were it was exciting to get their story and to finally link the the infants back to their parents. I still haven't got my finder grave request, my edit request, accepted. Um, hopefully soon. Sometimes it takes a little while. I'm usually pretty fast at mine if anybody ever has an edit for one of mine. Um, but I just feel I was very excited about it because I could actually finally link these poor babies were buried at a cemetery away from their parents and their other siblings, so I really liked it that they were, that now they can be I mean, obviously, on the other side, they're all reunited, but at least here on paper, um, they're reunited again, so I'm gonna start crying. Okay, alright, let's go to St. Patrick, so, Tombstones doesn't start to cry. My little black heart can't take it. Yes, hello, and she says, "I'm listening, but have chores to do." All right, well, you listen along, and then I'm gonna tell you guys some stories. And hello, Equal. Love to you too, hun. All right, here we go. Hobbit, Hobbit potatoes. Yes. Well, that's coming from the movie more though. I just remember Sam explaining potatoes to Gollum, or what was his name? Not Gollum. What was that little dude's name? Oh, see, okay, we're not talking about that though tonight. We're gonna talk about St. Patrick. So let me pop up. I've got some cool stuff. All right, let's see. I think this worked out better. How did we do this last time? This is not working on I think this worked. Oh, wait. I wonder if I can edit this a little bit. There we go. Let's try that. Alright. I think that'll work. Okay. Except I'm looking over here. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I think this works better for anybody that has to watch it in the vertical. So, okay. So here we go. This is Mr. St. Patrick. Mr. Saint. Let me get up my notes. So, I'm just gonna give a real quick what did St. Patrick do? Why he's kind of important to Ireland, and he's not just important to Ireland. There's a few places that call St. Patrick their patron saint. So, St. Patrick, he was a 5th century Romano British Christian missionary, and he is credited with converting the Irish people from being pagans to making them Christians. And he had the story is he was in Britain. He was picked up by some Irishmen and he was enslaved and brought back to Ireland. He eventually escapes these Irishmen and returns to England or to Britain. And many years later, he decides, well, I'm going to go, I got to save those people. I got to save the Irish. They're kind of messed up. I'm going to go save them. So he returns and he starts to preach and to convert the pagans over to Christianity. And at that time, he was a bishop for the church. And he was spreading the faith. He established some churches, some schools, and when I say some, a lot in Ireland. He's credited with I let me see, I think I put it down here. Something like, let's see, he founded 300 churches and he converted over 135,000 people, which that's like kind of crazy for his time period. So, at least I think it is. So, his missionary work, he preached across Ireland for 40 years. There's famous stories of him converting kings, and locals, even though none of them wanted to be converted. So, it was dangerous for him to do that, especially going up to these high kings and saying, "Hey, dudes, you're not yeah, pagan stuff is not cool. You gotta come over here and worship Jesus because he's the cool guy." That was a little dangerous for him to do, but he did it anyway. I'm sure there were some times he probably got real close to, you know, not existing any longer, but somehow he managed to both make friends with and to convert the people of Ireland. And famously, the shamrock, which in this stained glass, he's holding the shamrock. It's not the four-leaf clover. It is a three-leaf shamrock. So there's a difference between it. And he used the shamrock, because it has the 3 leaves, he used it to explain the Holy Trinity to the pagans. So Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So 3 and the 3 leaves on the shamrock. So that is also one of the, what is it? Oh my goodness, I'm blinking already. Okay, I gotta stop moving my hands because the camera's on the warpath tonight. But also the national symbol of Ireland. That's what I was trying to get at. So, let me go down my notes. Do, do, do. So one of the biggest things for St. Patrick, instead of going in and just eradicating the person, the pagan belief system, he actually went in and kind of genius. He incorporated these paganisms, um, these traditions, he incorporated them into Christian practices. So there are things in Ireland that you'll see that are not anywhere else in the world. And this would be because of St. Patrick. So you'll see the Celtic cross, which I'm gonna show you some examples of because I take a lot of photos of those. They're one of my more favorite types of grave headstones or tombstones, however you want to, whatever you want to call them. I love the high crosses. I just think they're beautiful. Yeah, if I see them in a cemetery, I'm just drawn to them. But he took the bonfires of now I'm gonna probably get because I don't know all my pagan holidays that great, so please no one come for me, but, can't remember which one falls is it Beltane that falls right around Easter and then they light the bonfires? Well, he took all of these, changed them up, he took the bonfires of I think it's Beltane, and brought it into Easter. There's a big famous story. I don't have it, but there's a big famous story about the bonfires, and him converting it over to be used for Easter, and I believe it was a queen actually with that one, but yeah, we gotta get the women in here too. And then with the Celtic cross and the meaning behind that. So he did a lot of this to didn't want to just get rid of their beliefs, but he wanted them to be able to sort of continue, but then also be Christians as well. And this really worked for the Irish because they are pretty stubborn. So it worked for them. And now there is this popular legend everybody knows, and I think Darlene popped in here with it already about driving He drove the snakes out of Ireland, right? Um, this is probably, more of a metaphor for driving the paganism, non-Christian beliefs out of Ireland. That, like, the snakes are representative of the non-Christian beliefs. So, it's not that he actually drove, physical snakes out of Ireland, it's just the idea that and it just yeah, it's sort of, because I know there was I'm gonna skip that because otherwise I'm gonna get derailed and I'll be way off track on this, but so, like I said, he founded at over 300 churches, converted all these people, and some say I'm gonna get to the part now where he died, and because this is actually where we come to St. Patrick's Day. So, St. Patrick's Day is actually the day he is said to have died, and this is also in, his feast day, and I better wet my whistle because 'cause I'm pretty sure that didn't come out right. So, it's his feast day, so for Catholics. So, this is the day it would be a holy day, and it is a holy day in Ireland, and it was for many, many, many years. It wasn't until actually, it got brought over to America, and then it got to be what we have now as St. Patrick's Day, but it really was a holy day because it's not like a celebration, it's an observance. So and that would be March 17th, and that was the day he died, and some say it was about 493 AD, and that would have made him about 100 years old. Others say it was about 461 AD, which seems to be probably more accurate, and that would have given him he would have been a pretty good, healthy 76 years old. That seems more believable, seeing that he was kidnapped when he was a youngster and had been, kept as a slave in Ireland, and then he had preached across Ireland for 40 years, but he'd also lived back in Britain for several years before that, so it's probably gonna be closer to that, like, 4 461 AD is kinda my guess too. I'm not a scholar though, so I'm not gonna argue with them. Um, and it is generally accepted, and I see, Ewan over or Eugene over here, I almost said Ewan. Sorry. Well, I did say that. Downpatrick. So, it is generally accepted that St. Patrick died where he is said to be buried, and it is Downpatrick, which is near Belfast in Northern Ireland, and I'm gonna pop gotta keep going down here. I'm gonna tell the story and then I'm gonna show you guys the photos here afterwards. But so Patrick, after he had converted Ireland to Christianity, he'd done his good deeds, he'd founded these churches and these schools. He was probably getting pretty old by then. He probably kind of wanted a break, right? So he goes back to Britain, lived out the rest of his life, but he knew getting towards the end he was getting old. He knew it was coming, and it said that angels had visited him. Whether it was a dream or that they actually came to him, the stories seem to differ, but whichever way it was, angels told Patrick that he needed to return to Ireland, and that when he reached there, he would die. So what he did, he traveled back to Ireland after all these years of being away, and the town at that time there was a small town, and it was called Saul, and that's Saul, and it's very close to where Downpatrick is now, and he performed one last conversion, and died. So, he went out, he decided, "Hey, I'm going out, I'm gonna do one more, just put it in the books," you know? So, he's gonna do one more conversion, and he dies. So so the story goes anyway, that he died not too long after, getting to this town called Saul, and the news of St. Patrick's death yeah, Darlene, he went out with a bang. News of his death, it spread like wildfire all across Ireland. The chiefs, chieftains, the kings, the priests, all corners of the island flocked to this town, Saul, and they all came to pay their final, their last respects to St. Patrick. And that night, there were torches lit, they were reading psalms, and that night, it was supposed to be a magical night, and that would become much later it was a holy day, but much later, did become Ireland's national holiday. And typically, like I said, it's, Ireland observed March 17th as a religious holiday for centuries. Um, but the modern St. Patrick's Day, all the crazy stuff that we see with the drinking and the partying, the wearing of the green, um, this actually started over here in this country. However, so a little bit of trivia for you guys. So the modern St. Patrick's Day festivals, the parades and such, they trace back to New York City in 1762. Irish soldiers that were serving with the British military marched through the city to commemorate the holy day, and this is supposedly where the tradition of the famous St. Patrick's Day parades started. I'm I'm gonna believe it. That's what they said. It seems like a really credible source. This was actually from an Irish, website, so I'm gonna believe them. I think they know what they're talking about. Alright, I'm gonna pop over here real quick and see what you guys my nose just suddenly got really itchy, so, I'm gonna go up here, and Morg says, "I'm gonna teach Tombstones not to read leaves." Alright, I won't read the rest of this one, alright? Including this one, alright, see? Um, oh, I know, I tell you, taters are when I was a kid, that's what my grandpa did, like, we'd go dig them up out of the garden, and he'd, like, take his pocket knife and cut it open, and then he'd just put a little salt on it and eat it. Yeah, um, but I still like them. I like them that way too. I don't know, every time I do it, I always just like, "Hey, grandpa." Yeah. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go down. Yes, St. Patrick is was supposedly Romano-British, and should I skip that one too? I'm gonna go down. Boom, boom, boom. Doo, doo, doo. I'm gonna keep going. Gotta go down here. Yeah, Darlene, right? The German and the Irish, stubborn as hell. But fun too, because they do like their drink, so at least they've got that. And Morg says, "This is the one I was looking for here." Ireland didn't have snakes after about 20,000 after about 20,000 years ago or something like that too. Yeah, and I think the only reptile that's indigenous to Ireland is like a newt or something. Um If somebody wants to look that up, I read that a long time ago, I don't know if that's true, or maybe actually maybe on a tour somebody said that. And you know how I feel about some of these tour guides now, because now everything they tell me I'm taking with a grain of salt, so, and then Eugene gave us, Downpatrick. I have not I've I've been into Northern Ireland, like, this much, um, only because we got turned around and we had to go in and then turn around and come back out, but it is on my list 'cause Northern Ireland has some beautiful places too, so it's definitely on my list, but, yes, maybe not Belfast so much, but a lot of other areas around, especially now, gotta go see where, looks like Eugene has I would love oh my gosh, you would I would love to know more. I just have the photos that I took off that I borrowed, um, and let me do that here real quick. Is that what I have up first? No. Here, let me do this. So, St. Patrick has a Find a Grave memorial. Yay! Go St. Patrick. Yeah, and it links to the church and everything. So it's the Saul Church of Ireland, and he is supposed to be buried there in the churchyard. So there is his Find a Grave memorial, which I thought was really cool. I had never looked before, but when I looked him up, this came up and I thought it was really neat. So this is the church. It is looks massive. Eugene, if you let us know, is it as big as it looks? It looks just ginormous. So it's pretty simple for his grave, which makes sense for a saint. It just has this huge boulder on top, and I'm gonna go should I make this a little bit here? I'm gonna do this. Let me go back real quick so you guys can see these, but so that's looking up that boulder is right there in front of the church. St. Patrick is supposed to be buried beneath it. Um, oh god, equal. I think I've consumed my body weight in shamrock shakes this year. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go down a little bit. Um, tell us, are you watching from Northern Ireland? Oh my gosh, Eugene, really? Oh, that is cool. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm in the US. I'm in Michigan. I'm excited. I really want to go to Northern Ireland. I especially want to go here. But I think that is really cool. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go down here a little bit. Bump, bump, bump. Old man build. I don't know, Nathan, I think I think if you're wearing a their kilt, you definitely have to have mirrored floors, and bless Al, you're in the vertical, which if you wanna be in there, you can, you can come over to the horizontal too, which is either way, yeah. I think more of us are over here with, in the horizontal though. Alright, so let me pop up some photos, and there look at that size of that rock, though, holy cow. Yeah, want to I definitely wanna get here. You can look around and see the different types of I love Irish cemeteries. Well, they're pretty similar to the ones in Scotland that I've showed you, pretty much, I mean, roughly the same, a lot of the same you'll see, like, the iron fence work around them, but, St. Patrick's is definitely very much different, and this is the top of the stone, and it just simply says Patrick, and actually, I think it actually says that in Irish, if I'm not mistaken, so Patrick is the how we would say it in English. I'm pretty sure if I can't see it because there is a big I don't know, that big divot in the rock there, but there's a Celtic cross up here on the top. And kilts are yeah. definitely a Scottish thing, but if you Eugene, if you were over here on St. Patrick's Day, if you watch the big parades, Chicago, New York, they are Irish bands marching in these parades, and they're wearing kilts. So, for 1 day of the year, I think the Scots let loose of that a little bit and allow their Irish, neighbors to wear kilts, because I think there is a official tartan of Ireland that they issued. So, I'll have to look it up, but I know there is an official Ireland tartan. So they must be allowed to wear kilts or at least wear tartan fabric, which I think is really cool. Um, I'm glad you guys are it snowed here, and we got at least 2 inches, probably 3 last night. Who knows with all the it was blowing so bad, bad blizzard, bad. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna go back down, and yep, I my first and only, um, tattoo is um um, a Celtic, what is it? Oh my gosh. Why am I blanking? It's on me. And hello, Woke Ones Revolution. You know what? I gotta get your link up here too. I gotta start tuning in. I've been so darn busy. I have not, but I will be. I promise. But hi and welcome. Oh, Celtic Knot. Yeah, thank you. Uh, thank you, Darlene. Um, And let's see here. So that's St. Patrick. This is one of the I believe this is yeah, this is at the church there. This would be a huge Celtic cross. Obviously, it's pretty old. It's worn away quite a bit. Um, I have to remember to drink. I need a timer over here. All right. So that is about all I have on St. Patrick. I just kind of wanted to yeah, just remember while you're downing your green beer, let's, also remember it's a holy day. You don't have to go to church, but maybe light a candle for St. Patrick. I did earlier, but Tansy tried to knock it over, so it got put out. Otherwise, my house probably would have gone up on fire, and I know St. Patrick loved a good bonfire, but not my house, so, um I had to put it out, but yeah, light a go do your whatever your normal tradition is, but yeah, definitely, light a candle for him, and I did have a list of so he's not only the patron saint of Ireland, I believe he's the patron saint of Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, which I thought, "Wow, I don't know how that worked out, but yeah, he's a pretty popular saint apparently, so okay, let me pop in. Hello, Dawn Marie. Welcome, happy St. Patrick's Day. And I'm trying to stay warm. Like I don't know why I got a t-shirt on, but I didn't have any St. Patrick's or green sweatshirts or oh, I do. I should have put my sheep sweater on. Darn it. Damn it. Oh, well, next year. But you guys have seen me wear it before, so and I haven't worn my Slange, t-shirt for a while. Last time I wore this, yeah, it was bad. Bad things happening. Alright, I'm gonna go down. Yeah, Darlene, it's probably a safer thing, especially with Wild Woman over here, tearing up my house. It's better that I just yeah, play it safe, don't do, here, I'm gonna pop back up here now. Since I did do my hair tonight and it actually turned out pretty good, I got a new hair dryer, so, hopefully it'll stay looking okay by till the end of it here. And like, okay, Ernie says Nanners is going to sleep. Okay, and hello, Tiff. Welcome. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You missed the part about St. Patrick, but I still have so many cool things to show you guys. This is oh shoot. I I know where this is. Damn it. I gotta look at my phone again. This is Limerick. Like as soon as I picked up my phone, um, I knew that would jog my brain. So this is Limerick. I don't remember which church in general, but we were way up on this old, I think it's St. John or not St. John. See, now I got the saints in my head. We were John's, is it King John's Castle? So we were way up there on the top of that. And I looked down and I'm like, oh, look at that. There's a cool cemetery down there. And I took this photo from up there. And then we went down because I wanted to go in it. And it had a locked gate. And I thought, "Hey, I could get through there," because it actually wasn't that great of a, like, the gate was pretty cheesy. So, I probably coulda got away with it, but then again, I thought, I don't know how much what bail runs in Ireland, but, yeah, I didn't have that secured before I left, so I thought, "No, I'm not gonna sneak in there," but it looks really cool. For some reason, I think this is probably, an Anglican cemetery. I don't think this is a Catholic cemetery, because I think that's an Anglican church by the tower, um, if I'm not mistaken. I was always told the square tops are Church of Ireland and are Anglican. If I'm not Somebody coulda told me wrong. Somebody coulda lied to me. Coulda been one of those damn tour guides again, not telling me the truth, but it was really pretty. I think this was March when we went. Actually, I think it was end of March, so this would have been after St. Patrick's Day. We got there on Good Friday, which go figure, that's kind of a that is a holy day in Ireland, and none of the pubs are open, so it was we were a little shocked to discover that, but it was fine. We still had a good night 'cause, we just went to sleep anyway, but alright, let me go down, let me see. Um, oh my goodness, I got a space heater going in my room right now, and I still feel so cold. It's so cold outside right now. Like, I went outside and, like, the dog water had froze solid. No camera, I was not asked. Oh, now it's gonna zoom in on my pores again. Go away. Go away. Nope, now it's not going to. So, your Murphy girl. Oh, I have, trying to think, my three-time great-grandma, she was now this is not an Irish sounding name, so County Wicklow, and she was a Wettic. I've n apparently, there's a lot of them down and around in Wicklow, and, but her mother was a Kelly. And I think there's a lot of Kellys running around Ireland. So, but yeah, but man, I wish I had, growing up, I wanted black hair, and I talked my mom into letting me color it when I was like, I think it was 16 or 17 because I was going through my goth phase, and I did, and oh, no. I will never go another color again. This is it. Cause. Yeah, I always wanted black hair. I thought it would be so beautiful, and it did not. No, I look like a ghost. I'm shocked that I probably did frighten a few people, especially at night, walking around. I probably looked like a freaking ghost, or a demon, probably closer to a demon. Um, so Tiff is gonna I can't bel it's 90 there. I'm glad you have outside plants to water because my poor little tulips were coming up and now they're dead, or they will be because 'cause they're under 2 inches of snow, so I'm gonna be hello, TF, Slàinte. I'm gonna stick with the Scottish, but Slàinte, it's the same, means the same thing. I'm gonna go down. Doo, doo, doo. And I would love to see inside of these. Let's see, I'm gonna go down, and Anne says she has County Cork. Cork is beautiful. Uh, I spent a lot of time down in Cork. I spent a lot of time County Kerry is I have to love Wicklow. I have to. Um, I almost got a pub there. I'll have to tell you guys about that. But, yeah, I almost got a pub, but I would have had to marry this old pub guy, which now thinking back, I should have just done it, but with my luck, he would have outlived me even though he he had to have been 70 if he was a day. With my luck, he would have outlived me, like, we'd still be married, and I'd still be waiting for him to kick the bucket. Um, what would that make him? Make him, like, 100 years old, but that would be my luck. So, yeah, but I'll show you guys here because, uh so this is just one, I'm not gonna talk, I just threw this in because it was a photo of the cemeteries. I'm gonna skip around here, guys. If I miss your comments, I'm sorry. I am, um yeah. It's probably gonna be bad tonight with my ADHD. Um, so I did steal some photos. This is not a stolen one. This is mine. This is Glenda I say Glendalough. Some people say Glendalough. Either way, you can say it. It's good. No one's gonna yell at you either way. Um, but this is oh, I gotta go down. My notes got a little messed up here. So Glendalough comes from the Irish meaning "valley of 2 lakes," and I'm going to show you those 2 lakes. This area is probably best known for a couple movies. One being ugh, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but one is Braveheart. Um, yeah. So the one scene where, he and his wife, they meet, there's like this, um, lake in the background, and he and his wife, before she gets killed, they meet. I think they're sneaky meeting, and they kiss, and, actually, that might be I think they do the hand fasting, I think is what it is. It's been a long time since I've seen Braveheart, but that was right here on the shores of the upper lake. But this is my photo. I took this. This is from my oops, didn't mean to do that. This is from my very first trip. So it's a monastic site, and, where did my notes go again? And let's see, it's pretty so it's a 6th century early Christian settlement, and it's associated with Saint Kevin, and it became, a pretty popular site for pilgrimages and a learning center, like, around up until the 13th century, even with Viking raids. So the Vikings were coming often and stealing and yeah, doing their Viking thing, which, I don't know. We'll talk about the Vikings at some point, but it didn't seem to, hinder the settlement here. It stayed going for centuries. A lot of the structures that are here in this area at Glendalough, they actually date from the 11th and 12th centuries, though. This round tower that you see here, these are pretty cool. These are iconic of Ireland. You don't get to see too many of these that are still in existence around Ireland. Some of them have been taken down. Um, some of they fall down, they get taken apart. Stones from the towers get used to build other things. And this one is 112 feet high. And like I said, this is from the 11th to the 12th century. And they don't know if it was used. There seems to be different thoughts. It could have been a bell tower, it could have been a refuge, for all those Viking raids, and also, they know that they did store things here, such as grain, and it's really cool. I wish I could find it because, oh my god, it was so cool. So, this is another view of the tower, and these are all my photos on the slides. The ones that I'm gonna plug in here in a second are, ones I borrowed, and this is the another Celtic cross. This is the big one here at Glendalough. But as you can tell on the round tower here, at the very base of it, there's a wee little door. Here, I gotta show you guys my hand because it's gonna make my camera go weird. There's a little door at the very base of, the round tower, and it's for cats because they would store grain in here as well. It kept it very grain did very well in this because it kept it dry. If you can see where the little door is there, it's not the best of pictures. I couldn't find all of my photos. I have a ton of them, but sorry. But the door is several feet up. So they would have had like a little landing that you had to go up to enter into the round tower. But at the base, they had that little door and it was a cat door. They would put the cat in there and the cat would get the mice because this is where they also stored their grain. But it kept, because of the levels inside, their grain stayed nice and fresh. It didn't get moldy, and these were pretty good places for storing that. And also, I guess it would be a pretty good place to hide from the Vikings. I would be afraid of Vikings setting stuff on fire and being stuck in that. Looks like it would be a smokestack to me, but whichever way, it's really cool. This is one of the few that is actually still standing, completely standing with its roof on. You go around Ireland, there's some. I'm gonna show you another one where it's just really kinda just the base of the round tower, but I went on a quest to find all of these and to see all of them. So I've seen a few of them, but I think there's only 2 that I've seen that are, like, complete like this. So this is kind of um it's special. So and this photo that I took here, though, this one is hung on my walls. Everywhere I go, um, it goes with me. I hang it up even if I don't have a whole lot of room, it gets hung up. And alright, so that's our next one, and I'm gonna remove this. Oop, and I'm gonna show you not my photos. So this is this beautiful little stream. I'm sure there's a name for it. I forgot to look it up. Um, I say stream, I think it's a river, but this goes past Glendalough. You can see the round tower. There's a cathedral to the left there, and that would have been where they had their worship services. And then there's a little, like, if you look at the tower, it almost looks like there's another building, like the ruins of a building right in front of it. They call that, oh, wait a second, or is that the ruins? Okay, wait a second. The cathedral ruins are in front of the round tower. The one to the left is called Kevin's Kitchen, and I forget because 'cause it's been a long time since I've been there, but, um, yeah. I don't think it was actually a kitchen, though. I think it was like a learning center or like a library or something like that. It just gets called a kitchen. But you can see, it is in a valley. It is, a valley that was carved through by a glacier many, many, many thousands of years ago, long before. This is a postcard that I found that I thought was really cool. I'm really into vintage postcards. I want this one. I'm gonna go look for it. So, this is the town. 'cause there is a town. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just this beautiful monastic site, with ruins and this little the cemetery and graveyard, but there is a little town right there. Has an amazing pub, which I could have been owner of, but I'm here. So, but you can see this is looking down, you can see the 2, there's the upper and the lower lakes, and then now I'm gonna show you an actual photo, and you can see the round towers down here, at the bottom of the screen, and then you've got the upper and lower lakes. So, the upper lake there, um, that is where that scene from Braveheart took place with, William Wallace and his wife. I think it was the do you guys anybody remember, was it the hand they were hand fasting, correct? Like, he was taking his tartan and wrap does anybody I don't know. I might remember wait. That movie makes me angry, but, it was filmed here, um yeah, and also the movie Reign of Fire with is that with I think that's Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. They actually set the whole side of that hill on fire on the right-hand side here. Um, that was movie I think it was like dragons come back and take over the world or something. Um And Hollywood caught that all on fire, and they had to yeah, I guess they had to pay Ireland a lot of money for that. So when I was there, the side of that hill was, like, just burned timber because it wasn't very long after that movie had been filmed, so it was pretty crazy. And then I think I got one more, and yeah, there it is. There's another one of from the stream again. um, Looking up at the round tower, and then, Kevin's Kitchen is down here to the far left. So that's Glendalough. I do believe they still bury people here. Um, they are very, um they keep reusing these sites. So where you can imagine it's an island, they're not making more space, so they just keep reusing it, which I think is very cool. Instead of just moving people around, keep moving our cemeteries around like we do in this country. They just, yeah, one family can use the same plot for quite a long time, which I find very cool. So that is Glendalough. Let me take that. I'm gonna take that down. And then I already kind of showed you this one. Make it all the way big for you guys. So this is the cross of Murtaugh. And hang on. I don't have a lot to say about it, but it was a cross. It's in a cemetery. It's really old. So I did wanna make sure I included it. Um, let's see, where did I put my notes? Yep, this is Murdoch's High Cross, and this is from either the 9th or 10th century, and this is Monaster Boyce, and this is County Louth, Ireland, and I've been here, so this is my photo. It depict all the scenes on this are I whoops, come on, go back. These scenes, I believe it shows, if I remember correctly, was Jesus going, um, after Jesus died and then he went to hell. And they show all the different stages, like what he saw there. Like there's demons on here. It's absolutely beautiful. I have more photos of it. This is the only one that I happen to have on my laptop, but you can see the other like this right. This has been here since probably the 9th century, but then you have all these obviously much newer, headstones all around it, so they still use these sites today for all their burials. So it's pretty I thought that was pretty interesting, so I threw it in here. Alright, um, my next one, bum, 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 I kinda threw the find a graves in here if I could, and oh, I keep going back and forth here, there we go. Um, alright, I'm gonna look over here and see what you guys say. Braveheart, right? I'm so not the real Braveheart, um, because William Wallace, he is a hero. Maybe not. Probably didn't do I mean, come on. He still was pretty damn cool. But yeah, that movie, I liked it because I thought, "Oh my god, this is so cool," right? Like, "Hey, there is a movie about a Scottish dude, a cool Scottish dude. Like, look at all this stuff he did," right? But it really took a whole lot of Scottish history, and you wanna talk about tour guides um, not being accurate in their descriptions. Please don't ever watch Braveheart, watch it just for the beautiful scenery and a cool story. Don't watch it because it is for, any historical relevance because it is so not relevant. The Queen of England at that time would have been, like, 10 years old or something, I think. So there's I yeah, I won't. We can do that discussion some other time. Um, but it's horrible. Um, yeah, and the bridge at yeah, well, we can talk about him more because we could talk about, like, the real William Wallace, not Mel Gibson's, William Wallace, but the movie, though, the one thing that is beautiful about it is that it's all shot in Ireland. It's absolutely gorgeous, all the places, that they show, which is kind of odd because it is Scottish, and you would think they would have filmed it in Scotland, but it was a long time ago, and Ireland is, like they're really cool about, film companies coming in, like, they used to have, um, a lot of movies were being made in Ireland at one point because they were giving tax breaks and things of that nature, so they had a lot of movies being made and filmed in Ireland, and yeah. So that's probably why Braveheart was filmed there. Um, Probably it was cheaper to film there than it was in Scotland, maybe at that point. Um, let's see. So I'm interested in seeing all of your guys's I love I love Irish names. All those Celtic names, I love them. Um, I especially like going through and reading the headstones when I go to these little cemeteries and stuff. This one here is, Aghadoe Church, and I am saying that correctly, believe it or not, you guys. I told you I was gonna nail these because 'cause I've been there and I've heard them say these, so and since I've been there 3 times, it's kind of been drilled into my head. Every time I go to Killarney. It's my favorite place. It kinda just feels like a little hometown. Um I don't know if I have any family that came from Killarney or anywhere near like, I know County Wicklow, but I don't know about Killarney, but I love it. It's beautiful, the people are nice. I'm gonna show you some photos. Um, I mean, I could have better photos if I could find out where all my photos were, I could show you some really cool ones, but anyway, this is Aghadoe, and this is the Church of Ireland. So notice the steeple up there, it's square. So the Church of Ireland didn't last very long in Ireland, and it was not Catholic, it was Anglican, or at least I'm gonna call it Anglican. I can't remember 100% if that's exactly what they said it was, but let's go with that. It's just non-Catholic. Um, I'm gonna go where did I put that one? Uh-oh. I do this every time my notes get out of order. Uh, where are you? Here it is. Oh, I put Protestant church, but I guess that is Anglican. So, this was built not very long ago, only from 1835, and in the article that I was reading, it says that was the heyday of the Church of Ireland. And the land that this church stands on was given to the church, or it was given to put a church on by a man named Charles Wynne Allinson. Doesn't sound very Irish because he wasn't. He was 2nd Lord Headley, and in the previous decade, he had built a new residence nearby. And Lord Headley was, even though he was of English descent, he had a lot of money. He didn't spend his money wisely, and he kind of went through his money pretty quickly. So, but unlike other English landlords in the area during the time of the famine, he was actually not bad. And I'm not even saying not bad like in quotations or anything. He um he was a model landlord, and when he died in 1840, he was missed by a lot of people, and his wife, Anne, lived and survived him by 20 more years, and this would have gone through the Great Famine, and during that time, Anne, she did a lot to relieve the suffering of her tenants, and many other people in the area. She made sure they had food, they had fire, um, things to keep their homes warm, and they were much different probably than a lot of the other English landlords across Ireland, who nothing changed for them, but the people that were their tenants, right? They were starving. So, in the cemetery, I had to include it. This one was, we rented a house just down the road from here. Got it itchy on the back of my neck. So, this is the church. We rented the house, and we just kinda started walking around and found this one. It's not a very big graveyard, so this would be a graveyard because it is attached to a church, and it looked like there's some pretty recent burials, but the church was last used, it's boarded up. It was last used in 1989, and that's when it was closed up. Here, let me go big here so you can see it a little bit better. But you can see where the front door there was, and everything's been boarded up, and I remembered when we were there, there was some newer looking headstones, it's very pretty. Um, alright, gotta go down here. I think I got way too far gone. There we go. Hello, Mia B. I see you. And this is some of the headstones. I thought this I keep my favorite headstones. I keep them. I know some people keep scrapbooks. I don't. This is what I keep scrapbooks of. I keep, cool and interesting headstones that I see. I have a little file, and no matter what, it gets switched over to whatever device that I have, um, and this is one of them. How this little bird has remained attached, well, it's a dove, and he's got a little sprig of, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I can't tell, if somebody has a guess at what they think it is. um, I think it probably is something symbolic, which I'm unaware of, but just the fact that bird has not been broke off of there. Uh, this has been 10 years now, so, I sure hope I still hope this little dove is on there. Um, if it was up to me, all headstones would be under glass cases that look like this because I wanna protect them all because I think they're beautiful. But I did want you guys to see this one up a little more close because it is really pretty. Got 2 different views of it. Of course, the one is a little darker 'cause I think I was taking that shot into the sun, and then the other one, was with the sun directly on it, but it was so pretty. Um, they're just I mean, I think of the ones here that I go all gaga about, and like I said, here, you guys go here too. There's the Celtic cross. Yeah, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see a lot of those. And let's see, this one was you know what? I can't read from my screen, so I think I can pull it up on my phone though so I can see what it reads. Let me pull them up here real quick. Alright. The Celtic cross, the one with the knotwork, says it's in loving memory of Dame Emily Clune O'Connell. I think that's Clunes, Clunes. Um, and this is one of the things that I like, about a lot of the Irish headstones. They put where everybody's from, which I think is really neat. Like, I see this down south quite often too, like, where they say, like, I've seen on, adventures, like, when you were down at Magnolia Cemetery, one of them said, "Born in New Orleans and died in Mobile." I love that sort of thing, and that's what is very similar to some of the ones that I see in Ireland too. It'll actually say where they lived, not all the time maybe where they were born, but at least where they lived, where they were living, and this one was she lived at Lakeview House in Killarney, and I looked up Lakeview House, it probably goes by something else now because nothing popped up for me, which I was very sad about. Um, and she died the 23rd of January, 1907 at the age of 86 years. And Darlene says, "Was it an olive branch that did Dove?" I don't know what that was. See, I was thinking olive branch too, but I'm not 100% sure if that's because it looked more like a leaf of some like a plant, like the stem of a plant or something, but, and then the one next to it here, right in the middle darn, I wish I could blow that part up a little bit, but it has this really intricate knotwork, um, that is just beautiful. And this one is there's 3 people actually buried here. I don't know if they're all buried under the cross or 3 sides. It's not unusual for them to have multiple, um, burials in one section or in one grave. And the first one here at the top, it says, "In loving memory of Elizabeth," and in parentheses, it has Bessie. And she was the beloved wife of Boyle Talbot of Killee Killalea. I'm sorry, not Killee, Killalea, because there's Killee and a Killee, so don't get those 2 mixed up. Um, she entered into rest 14 October 1917 at the age of 56. And below that on the very bottom of it, there's a I think that's a metal plate, affixed to it, and it says Talbot died 11 November 1919 at the age of 63. And then it says their daughter, Dora, died 18 September 1930. I can't read because there's, like, a bolt that's, like, right over but 1930 something, and she was only it says age 34, and below it, it says, "Peace, perfect peace." Alright, and this one, I love this one. I'm gonna say this about every one of them, but I love this one. This is one of my more favorite ones because of the carving. So this is, um I've showed you this is the same church, same graveyard, and I got a little closer up view of the top of it, and in the center is a little lamb or a lamb, and, I mean, typically here in this country, if we have a lamb on a headstone, um, it's typically for a child. That doesn't seem to be the tradition in Ireland, that must be a us thing because I've seen a lamb quite often on Irish, on the crosses, so it's part of their thing, so it doesn't, this is not an infant's burial, or infant or a child's, grave. This one is this is another Talbot, and it says, "In loving memory of James Talbot," and he was let's see, it says I can't read that. I can't read the one part of it, but it says Ballyhare. And he died February 1901, age 50, and then also his wife, Mary Talbot, and she died February 1916, and she was 57 years. It's not very old at all. Yeah, that's not very old at all for these people. I would've should have been doing a little better back, in the after 1900, but, well, of course, would that have been yeah, there was a war going on too, so maybe that was it. But if you look up at the top, you can see there's shamrocks on either side, there's the lamb in the middle. I'm not sure the type of flower, like, going up through the center, there's a flower, and I think, I know Tiff is watering her plants, but I think it's called the something like the Passion of Christ is this flower, and it looks like it had it's got this really cool bloom that comes out of the middle of it. That's what this looks like to me, the flower on there. I don't know if that's one that's popular in Ireland, though, but that's what it looks like to me. And then there's, I think that's stalks of wheat that are the underneath the lamb. So, very cool headstone, and then it's got, um some Celtic weaving around the outside of the cross, which is very pretty. Uh-oh, I'm out of tea. Ah, and now this one, these I can't read. I think they were pretty old. I think I tried to read them. Here, let me look. Maybe I can see it on my Oh, actually, wait a second. Um, the one to the right so the first one, the one to the right, I can just make out, um Constance Maud, beloved wife of J.D. Madden, and I think it says rector. Oh, he must have been rector. I think he was rector of the church that was here. Um, and it says something about a rest at rest, asleep, 1922. It has a month there, but I can't because of the branches in front of it, I can't quite read it. And then the one with the cross on top of it, that one says ooh, that one's really, um, "In loving memory of Alfred Howard Madden." So this must be a family plot. Age 30, ugh, 30 something, I can't read the rest of it because it's pretty old. or pretty covered in moss. Um, and now the one to the right that's buried, um, not forgotten, that one is for, the gentleman who I just talked about, who I already forgot, Lord Headley. So, this is where, Charles, Wynne Allison and his wife Mary, this is where they're entombed. So, this is a pretty popular one. There was a whole article that I found, that is actually how I found the church because I thought going through my photos, I'm like, "I know where these are." Like, I could drop down in Killarney tonight, and I could walk and go right there. Um, but when I was looking at the map, I couldn't find it. So, I was like, "Oh, crap. What church is that?" So, I had to do a little looking, and then I just did a Google search on this photo, and it popped up a whole article about which I'm kinda glad because it told me about who was buried here, which I found his story pretty interesting. Usually, you don't get to hear about the good English during the famine, you only get to hear about, the ones that were a-holes, so it was kinda neat, to get his story, but I like this one. You see the griffin on the one side, and then there's the lion with the crown over the top of both of them. So, this is the Talbots. Think I have the pretty sure I have the top of this photograph too. Um, uh-oh, somebody's here. Oh, uh-oh. Are you gonna get mad? Alright. You say hi, show everybody your collar. She really does love me even though she looks like Tansy. Oh, God. I know she loves me. Um, yeah, and then she just sits over there, like, looks at me like, Alright, so that's all I got on that church. I hope you guys like that one. It was pretty cool. Yeah, more cat. I liked it when she was smaller and I could just pop her up here. I want her to be little again, Mia, when uh-oh. Oh, no. Now she's mad. So she's gonna be over here in a second. And hello, Stevie. Welcome. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. Um, let's see. All right, I'm gonna go up here. Yeah, I like that too. Entered into rest, and there's another one that I see pretty frequently is asleep with Jesus. That's always been that one's kind of a favorite of mine too. I like that. Um and Darlene says October 14th is her granddaughter's birthday. I find a lot of it's so weird when I don't know if I gravitate towards these headstones or what, but I get a lot of 14s, 17s, 7s, and 3s. Like, when I come up on these headstones and I take photos of them, I get home and I look at them and I'm like, "How" it's just odd. I don't know. I'm sure there's something cosmic about it, but they're the ones that I seem to kinda gravitate to take photos of. Yeah, the lamb, because 'cause we're all God's children. And yeah, the art on these are gorgeous. Wait till I there's one here. So, this is there was Aghadoe, and I know it's a little weird of a name. I had a lot of trouble when I first my very first trip to Ireland, I went all alone. I was there for almost 3 weeks. I just wandered. And then I came to Killarney, and that's where I stopped wandering. I had a couple places booked that I wanted to go to. I ended up going to Cork still, which was on my list to go to. And then everything else I kinda canceled. And I got to see them later because I fully intended to come back at some point. I knew this wasn't gonna be my one and only trip there, but Um, I just fell in love with Killarney. It's beautiful. It's just they cater to tourists. It's a huge tourist spot, but uh, they're so nice, the people are just nice and friendly, um, everything you don't feel like you're in a tourist town, if that makes any sense at all, like, they're being nice. It just feels like they're being nice because they're nice people, and I think that's just what it is. It's not because 'cause they're acting like they're nice, they're just nice people. Yes, they cater to tourists, but I think they don't seem to mind tourists like some places do. Like, I think some places are just, like, so happy when the high season is over and they're, like, out, right? Like, I don't want any more. I don't wanna see another damn tourist or anything, but Killarney's a lot different, and it is kinda laid back, like, I just walked I don't even know how many miles I put on my feet walking around, Killarney, and Aghadoe was my first spot that I found and fell in love with while I was there, and I would go down to, Killarney. I would walk from the there's a it was a hostel, but it was an old house where I was staying, and I would walk from there into Killarney and then walk back up every day with my lunch, and I would sit up here at Aghadoe, and it's beautiful. You see the McGillicuddy Reeks, what they call them, and that's just the mountains surrounding Killarney. So beautiful. No words for it. I can tell you they're so cool, but that doesn't quite describe them. It's just gorgeous. I'd never seen I mean, I'd been to Colorado and seen the mountains there before, and I've seen mountains other places, but for whatever reason, these are just it's just something different. And I think I have a few photos that I can show you guys. Let me go down. So, this is the Find a Grave. Find a Grave is the Find a Grave website. I've talked about it before. It's also in Ireland. Didn't used to be, but now it is. I think it's for England now too. I think they're into Scotland. So if you're the looking for where your family members are buried, you might just be able to find them on here. I'm gonna warn you, a lot of these old headstones can't really read them anymore. But they're still beautiful, so, yeah, even if they're not related to me, I still take their photos, so, um, alright, so this is Aghadoe, and I have just a little bit this one is a pretty cool site. I probably know a little bit more about this just because I've been there. Um, every time I go back, I'm go here. It's just gorgeous. There's a really cool thing here too, and I'll show you guys the graveyard and, my photos, and then I'm gonna talk about this cool artifact, um, that is here. Alright, let me go up in my notes. So Aghadoe, I know it doesn't even sound Irish, right? It sounds kinda made up, but it's actually a little town and also a parish. And it overlooks the town of Killarney and also the national park there, the Killarney National Park, you can see the mountains, you can see the lakes. It's spectacular. There's really not and when I say town, there's a resort that's there now, that's I don't think there it wasn't there my first trip, but it was there the last time I went, which was about what? It's been 10 years now. Um, so there's nothing else really there except for, this site that I'm gonna show you, and even though that other church I just showed you says Aghadoe on it, it's a little ways down the road yet, so it's not quite, they're, like, not right next door to each other. So, officially, it's a parish, so not really technically a town, but they call it a town land, so I'm not that maybe means something different in Ireland that I'm not aware of. But this is a pretty famous viewpoint, and there's this island, out in the lake. It's called Innisfallen. It's got a legends and all sorts of things surrounding it that I can't even get into, but you can see it perfectly from up here, at Aghadoe. There's also the ruins of a 13th century Norman castle. I did not I have photos of it, but whatever reason, I didn't put them here in the slides because I like to do that stuff. And the castle is see, this one I do say wrong sometimes. I think it's no, I'm gonna think about it for a minute because if I think about it, maybe I'll say it right. No, it's not coming to me. Anyway, I'll skip it and I'll come back to it. I don't know why is that one giving me problems tonight? Because 'Cause I've said it 100 times before. But anyway, there's this a little round it's essentially just like you think castle, this is around a big round tower. So, it's pretty much just a fortification, and you would go in, there would have been, like, a steel door or some sort of metal door to enter, and then it's not even that big. Probably my bedroom is probably about the size of the interior of it, so it's not very large, and then they had, inside the walls, there's stairways that you can go up and there's, like, little slits in the wall so that, they could shoot their arrows and stuff out. It's very interesting, but it's not graveyard related, so I didn't include a lot. But the part that I'm gonna talk about is this beauty, and this is Aghadoe Cathedral, and she is a Romanesque church, and obviously, she's in ruins. And like I said, she is a very popular, spot just because it's a great viewpoint, and I've always said when I die, I don't need all of me to go there, but, some of my ashes, you guys are gonna hear me now, this is my recorded will. I want at least a little handful of my ashes to go here. This is one of my favorite places. I I can't even I mean, yeah, it's just beautiful. It's very special to me just because I think it was really the first place I started walking and kinda stumbled up on it, um, and just fell in love, and I remember going back to my hostel and being like, "Hey, what's that, cemetery up there?" And the guy's like, "Cemetery?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's, like, an old church or something," and yeah, and then he told me all about it. Um But Aghadoe comes from the Irish meaning the place of 2 yew trees, and there is at least 1 yew tree here. Hang on, I'm gonna be up all night now drinking Diet Coke, but and I like how the Irish names always translate into something, so it's really even though it doesn't sound very Irish, it's kinda fun to say too. Um, Aghadoe. Alright, so this is let's see here, there's also part of a round tower, and I think that's my next where's my round tower? Did I miss it? Ugh. Well, there's part of a round tower here. It's not as cool as the one at Glendalough, because it's only about I say like this, but it's gonna look like this big on when I do get to that slide, but here, I'll go through, I'll show you these slides real quick. So, this is, there's baby Jesus right there. This is, let's see, the south wall, this would be the east wall, south wall, north. So like most Catholic churches, they'd go from east to west, and then you got your south to north with your 2 other sides. But on the inside, if you look, so many, many years after this was no longer a functioning cathedral, they started using the space for burials. So there's all kinds of old graves in here. They have, oh, there she is, a couple slides too late. But when you walk up on it, it's kinda high up off the road, and there's this I'm taking this from the road, you can see the stone fence there, so, like, this I think I was doing something probably like this, like, hanging my camera up over the fence, and, oh, is Girl Ryan here? Hello, my favorite Ryan is here. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Girl Ryan. Um, uh-oh, uh-oh. Were you in an MMA match last an hour ago? How are you here? Oh, because you probably kicked some yeah, I bet you kicked some ass, didn't you? Um, but here's the tower. Here this is all that's left of it. There would have been one here that looks like the one that I showed you at Glendalough, the big old tall thing, but this is all that's left of it now. Whatever happened to it over the centuries, it's yeah, this is about it. I remember the first time that I went there, this was all black. Like, the sides of this looked like it had been caught on fire. Maybe it had. Um, but now it looks like regular rock. It looks like the same, almost the same type of stone that the one at Glendalough is made from. Um, let me pop here, and this is not on the cathedral. What is that from? I can't remember now, but I think this is an older edition. This is like one of the I think this is one of the headstones there, and you can see it's got 2 little I think those are supposed to be angels, but there's a lot of different types of icons. They're not always angels, sometimes there's one called the Green Man that was very popular to put on. You would think like gargoyles, but they were actually supposed to um, bless the structure and also to ward off evil spirits and such. You'll see them like on the old Gothic churches, you'll see quite a few little faces. I have the one in Scotland, the one was the one with Rosalind Chapel, the one from the Dan Brown books. Well, the one Dan Brown put in his books. That one is beautiful. I'm gonna talk about that one at some point too, because that one's beautiful. Let me make this really big. I'm gonna take myself off. This is my favorite headstone, and I know I say that a lot. Um, this is my favorite one there. I don't know how old this one is. It's old. I thought at first this was a fairy, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be an angel, but it's so cool. Just the fact that it's as old as it is. Um, I think this may have been part of, like, a Celtic cross. So it probably was a lot bigger, but the only part that is there now, this is the top section of it, and it's only a few feet tall. Um, and don't ask me how I remember this, I just know because I visit it every time I go. I've got some even better photos somewhere, but it depicts I'm not really sure, I think so Jesus, I believe, is depicted on the far left, and I believe the figure in the middle is someone it represents whoever is maybe buried there. Maybe that's their soul, and then the angel is taking the soul to Jesus. I could be totally wrong, um, but to look a little closer, so I should have probably swapped these around, but, the carving on the right-hand side, that is the one that's up in the far left corner, the one that I think is Jesus, and you can see his little halo around his head, and these are so beautiful, and then the other you can sort of make out. Like I said, I've got some better photos. I'll have to dig them up wherever they are, but so, um, but I think that's what this panel of the cross would have been telling. I think it is like the soul going maybe to heaven and then the angel taking the soul, but it's my favorite one out there. I love how he's got a little smiley face on him. He's very cute, and he even has, like, a little loincloth kinda thing draping over his bottom half here, so, um, it's yeah, so you go from this whole big thing like I said, this is just like that big cross that I showed you earlier, um, this is like that. I don't know where the rest of it went. This is all that's left of it now, so it was pretty probably ugh, it was probably pretty old. Um, so there we go. So that's that one, and here you can see how close together this is right there on that south side of the cathedral of the church, and you can see how close these graves are together, and they are still using these. Um So, space is it's not, there's not a lot of space being made, so they keep reusing these locations. The This is a tomb that is right on the left-hand side here, it's kinda cut off in my photo, but that is a tomb. Um, I don't peek in them because I just don't wanna see is that it? Really? For real? I swear I put more photos in here. Um, well, look at that. That's all I did? Anyway, so you can see there's a lot of different types of graves out here in the in the graveyard. I would still call this a graveyard because there was a church there, cathedral at one time. I think we still call it a graveyard. There's a lot of tombs, there's in-ground burials. They're I mean, they're right on top of each other. Like there's no space like some of ours. Uh, right, like, you've got a few feet. I mean, no feet. It's there's one there, there's one here. They're real close. So that whole thing, and I think I talked about this once before, this is when I got over my fear of stepping on graves, was when I was in Ireland because and now it was a tour guide who told me this, but then I had others tell me that too, so, I did double check his story, so it did check out. It's not considered a bad thing in Ireland to walk across a grave, and you can probably see why. There's really no other place for you to walk. Um, so not just out of necessity, you pretty much have to walk, right? Because when I say there's no space, I mean, there's like one grave there's enough for a burial of one person, and then there's that next headstone, and then there's that grave, and then the next like, they're right cramped in there. They're making the most of their space. So, in order for you to walk by, to go pay your respects, you're gonna be walking over someone's grave. However, it is considered how did they say? Almost I kinda wanna say, like, it's a s not a respect thing, but it lets the people that are buried there know that someone is still visiting and someone is still thinking of them. Even if you're not there to visit them, they think they are. That is how something like that is how the tour guide told it to me. He did it a little bit more eloquently, but it was essentially like the people that are buried there know that somebody's visiting, and somebody remembers them, whether you're there to see them or not. So I always like that. So I know in this country, everybody gets a little right, like don't walk on a grave. It's bad luck. Not not here. And actually in oh girl Ryan, this is Aghadoe. I just love saying it, but this is just up above the town of Killarney, and so that's County Kerry. So that's on the west side of the west coast of Ireland. So that's where I am right now. We've gone from let's see, we went from Northern Ireland, from Downpatrick to Wicklow to now we're here, and then I'm gonna take you to another part. We're gonna keep going. But I'm always gonna end up here because I love Killarney. So, yep, this is Killarney. I would say I would still call Aghadoe this is in the Killarney. I mean, it's you can see the town right below, but, um, what else? Oh, now I remember. I have to show you what is really cool about this site, but I have to take off my photos. I'm gonna put this one up. I have my own photos of this thing. Where they are, I've no clue. So, this is what's called let me get my notes up because I do not want to tell any falsehoods. I don't wanna get this one wrong. So this is called an Ogham stone, and I don't know if Tiff is here, but I'll spell it out. It's not spelled like a lot of things in Irish, it's not spelled like it sounds. Actually, I should just say Gaelic. It's spelled Ogham, so it's Ogham, and this is called an Ogham stone, and you can see from this photo that it was broke at one time into probably at least 3 pieces, uh, and they say it was made out of one single piece of yellow sandstone. It doesn't look yellow. When I've seen it up close, it looks gray, but maybe they said yellow. I guess it's yellow. Um, and at some point, this thing is old. They think it's probably somewhere in the 6th century, and at some point it broke. Maybe it fell off. Maybe wherever it was sitting, it had fallen off and broken. And it's 1.68 meters long, and it has an inscription on it that's been interpreted a couple different, like, 2 different ways, but still, I think pretty much the same word. And it's either Brunon or Brennan, and I wonder if that's, like, supposed to be maybe Saint Brennan, since a lot of the churches do get, consecrated to a saint, could have been Saint Brennan, is maybe my guess. I don't know if he was as popular in Ireland as he was in Scotland, but maybe. They didn't really the site that I was looking this up on didn't really give a whole lot of information, they just kinda talked about the stone. Um, so apparently the local history on this was that at one time there were 2 stones, and but now they think that it was just still the 1 stone and, um, it broke in half. And then at some other point, it broke a little bit more and made 3 pieces to this stone. So, this is located now, they've permanently pretty much fixed it on top. This is the southern wall, which I was just telling you guys where it was. For whatever reason, my photo of it I didn't save it to my drive, so let me pop up a couple more photos of it here, and you can see the carvings on the side here, and it is very soft stone, Darlene. So it's that sandstone. It's pretty easily carved, and that's what I just showed you that same I don't know where the other part of my photos went, but, that's it. They've got this thing, I don't know, super glued or something up there, so it's stuck up there. It's mortar, whatever they use to attach it, um and this is it from the top, and as you can see, it's pretty big. It's pretty long. I'm not good with measurements, but it's long. Um, let's see here, and there's the carvings, and I remember looking at this and not knowing what it was at the time. I just thought it was kinda cool looking, so I took photos, but apparently these little scratch marks, that's the words. So but I I'm thinking it's Saint Brennan. They do I don't think they said there was a patron saint for this church. I don't know if they know a whole lot about this one. So, that would be I'm just gonna guess and say that, maybe the next time I go, and which I will definitely be going back here. I always make my pilgrimage back to Aghadoe. I always end up at the cemetery or graveyard. It's one of my favorite places. I had a photo. I swear I took a put a photo in here of well, I can't talk about it and then not show you guys. Hang on here just a second. Let me put this one back up. I swear I had a well, I guess you can kinda see it. So this is the so where I just showed you where that stone was, um, that is the south side that is looking towards see those little bumpy things? Girl Ryan, you are more than welcome to come with me next time. You take me to get those cookies, and I'll take you to Killarney. How about that? I think it's a good trade-off. God, I love this place. I just love it. Yeah, I feel at home here. Like this is just it's just beautiful. But if you look in the background, you see those little bumpy those are the McGillicuddy Reeks. So those are the mountains that are like, when you drive into Killarney, your ears will start to pop. It's down, like, a little valley, and there's, Muckross and the lakes. There's Innisfallen Island. It's all down below. I don't know why I didn't put that photo. Maybe I don't have that one. I have a really cool panoramic that I took of it. Trying to think. I had it on my wall for a while. I think it got taken down, or I think the frame broke is what it was. Um Let me look here. I swear though. All right. I can't tell you guys about it and then not show you. So hang on. Let me um oh, there you are. Wait, come back here. All right. Nope, not that one. Now it wants to take me to the Church of Ireland. I want to go cathedral and I want the viewpoint. There we go. This is it. All right. Oh, this might actually nope, that's not my I was looking on Google Photos, I was thinking, "Maybe that is my photo because it looks just like mine." Alright, let me pop it up here real quick. I swear I already did this, but apparently I did not. Alright, where'd it go? Here it is. Bear with me just a second, guys. Alright, you'll see what I'm talking about here. Hopefully. Alright, where'd it go? You said you downloaded. Why didn't it? Alright. You gotta be kidding me. Where did it go? Alright. Try it one more time. It said it downloaded, but maybe it didn't download. Oh, okay. It's not the right format. Well, it shouldn't matter, it's a screenshot, so let's try that. Uh, alright. Yeah, it shouldn't matter. Why is that? Why is it being stupid? Alright, let's try this again. Alright, that one should work. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, let me take this is I'm gonna make it real big. There we go. That is the view from the graveyard. So this is why I want some of my ashes to get put up there on top of that hill. Um, yeah, so you can see, I mean, it's just gorgeous. This photo doesn't really do it a whole lot of justice, but it's still beautiful. You can see all the little islands that are out here. Innisfallen is to the left over far over here. I wish you guys could see my cursor over here, but it's so if you look over to the left-hand side and well, actually, let's see. In the middle there, you'll see like there's this little island and then a little tiny island behind it, and then there's this big mass. That's Innisfallen Island. And you can go out there, you can rent a boat to go out there. I've been out there. It's really beautiful. I've got some photos of me out there. You kind of feel like when you're out there, it kind of feels like, I don't like you're in another land. It's so well, I mean, I guess you really are. But like it's insulated and it's very quiet and man, I could live out on a little island like that if nobody ever, yeah, nobody else would ever mess with me out there, but I would probably get lonely after a while, but yeah, we got lucky one day, one of the boat guys, they have little boats that take off from, is it what's the castle? Not Muckross Castle, um, Ross Castle, sorry, and they have, like, these little boats and the little motorboats, and they go out back and forth out to Innisfallen all day, and it was kind of a nasty rainy day, and the guy he was the only one out there on his boat, and he was like, um, "I'll take you girls out there for, like" I think it was like €10 or something, and I think usually it's like 50 or something. It's like it was crazy. And we were like, "Really?" And like, "That doesn't seem" he's like, I'm here." And he just took us out there, and we ended up giving him, like, a couple I think we actually even gave him I think I gave him €10 and she gave him €10, so he actually made 30 off of the trip, but, and it was well worth it because it's just beautiful out there. I'll have to find those. Like I said, I've got so many photos, so many places that I'll have to find them, but you can kinda see why this is my favorite places, so and Ryan says, "I've been to Galway and County Mayo because supposedly my people are there." I like to think my people are somewhere here in Killarney too, but, I love Galway. Ugh, I had a blast in Galway, and Mayo's really nice as well. I don't know what it is about Killarney. I mean, obviously, it's freaking gorgeous there. Yeah, Equal, you gotta see this on the big screen. Yeah. I hope it comes out well enough since I did borrow this from Google. It's not. So yeah, it's not my photo. I do have some like that I have one that looks just like this, and I'm pretty sure if I looked far enough back on the Google, photos here, I'm sure I submitted some of mine. So, yep, this is from the overlook. And remember, guys, this is where some of my ashes have to go well, hopefully I will be dead if my ashes are going here. All right, I've got one more to show you. And this is another story of another saint. And my dogs are barking, so just ignore them. The kids probably making them mad. Um, all right, let me pull up my notes. This one we kind of found uh-oh, what? Why is it telling take out the trash? Why is it oh. I hope I hit yes, and I hope it didn't it probably just took out a bunch of stuff that I did not want it to. Alright, so this is Kilmacreehy Church, and Kilmacreehy means Church of MacCreiche. Very easy. This is just 2 kilometers southeast of Liscannor Harbor, and I am gonna show you the harbor. It is beautiful. This is my second favorite place that I've been to. I'll show you why. This is, like, probably one of the most gorgeous final resting places. I don't know if it gets any better than this. Um, but there's, like, these fields, and they just kinda slope real gently, and they just go right down to the sea, right down to the harbor, and then you've got these old church ruins that are sitting up here, up on top, and it's it kinda looks out over the bay. You can see there's no roof, nothing really, if you go inside, you can still see some bits that look yes, this was a church at one time, but from the outside, it just kinda looks like just a bunch of old stones, but it's still really pretty. Um, this these ruins date to about the 14th century. It was it says it was built in the Gothic style. There's not a whole lot when you look at it like this, you can't see a lot of that, but, um, you can see on the inside, there's, like, some pointed archways and some of these windows, and in its prime, this church would have serviced pretty much the whole countryside. There were farms and cottages all along the coast here, so it had a pretty good wide area of people that it served. Um, Fishermen who worked out at the sea, farmers, they all came here. The fishermen prayed for safe seas, farmers for fertile fields, mothers for their children's health, um, and generations upon generations of family of the same families are buried here. And it does seem now when I looked in here, not everybody that's buried here is Catholic. And their headstones will state that if they are not. So there are if they were Protestant, they're marked. So it's not just a Catholic burial ground, there are Protestant burials here as well. They do like to let people know that they're not Catholic, apparently. Um, so according to the tradition, Kilmacreehy was founded in honor of Saint Macree. Or wait, Saint okay, I gotta say this one right because this is a new one for me. Um, MacCreiche, I believe is how it's pronounced, yes. And he was a wandering holy man in the 6th century, and he traveled all around. He was supposed to be known he was a preacher, a healer, and a peacemaker, and his the reputation he had was one of he was very gentle and he was a miracle worker. He blessed wells and springs to ensure that there was always water in times of drought. And many times he was called to mediate between warring clans. So in Clare, which is where this is located, County Clare, the folklore says there was a monstrous serpent-like beast said to dwell in the Burin, and the Burin is just this kinda it almost looks like a just a wasteland, it's just a lot of rocky terrain, and this serpent was terrorizing everybody, and McCrahy, he came along, he did a lot of praying, and then he did some fasting, and then he went out and he confronted the creature. He subdued it, and then he bound it, and then he freed the whole countryside from the fear of this monstrous serpent beast. I don't know what he did with it, it must have died. I'm going to assume, um, it freed the countryside. Um, Other storytellers say that it was like, he actually did physical battle with this beast, and but either way you look at it, it's sort of like Saint Patrick with driving the snakes out of Ireland. This big um, serpent-like monster is a symbol of Christianity's triumph over this wild land. So, it's just more symbolism, so there probably wasn't a big giant monster, but I mean, hey, the guy prayed and he fasted, so let's give him some credit here. But there's always been a church here apparently, so even though this one, is just from what did I say, the 12th? The 14th century, there's always been some sort of church here or a monastic site, and long before that, it was probably also a site for pagan rituals as well, which, as we learned with Patrick, he did a lot of right? Did a lot of that crossover to help bring the pagans into Christianity. So, a lot of these churches would have been built on sacred ground that the pagans would have used for their worship. They think there probably would have been, like, a little enclosure here where they did their prayers, maybe did a sacrifice, things along those lines, but so it's always been a very special place. When I show you the photos, you're gonna see why, because it's gorgeous. That's probably not why they picked it, but it is a pretty spot. Um, and let's see. Doo-doo. And in this churchyard, there are some really old stones in here, and I've talked about my favorite ones before, the ones from the 18th and 19th century folk art where they have the angels and the hourglass, skulls, the ones that are very common in New England that I've talked about before. There are a lot of these here, and so a lot of the people that are buried here lived here or were buried here during the Great Famine, and a lot of these families immigrated. They left their homeland here, they went to America and Australia, and they never returned. So a lot of these families that are in the cemetery are no longer here, but there are some that are it's still active burial ground. There were brand new headstones when we were there, so they're still using it as of today, um, and I just kinda wonder what they what they dig up when they get in there. But anyway, there is also a little bit of paranormal that is attached to it. Um, Hi, Cutters. What? Uh-oh. Are you and TF getting into a fight? Oh, I see it. It turned into Oh, the serpent? I gotcha. Yeah, I can see that. All right, I'm gonna try not to laugh too hard. But there is a paranormal event that happens, and they call them soul lights, like soul as in your soul, and they flicker among the graves on stormy nights, and they sort of look like little they call them little ghostly flames, and they're supposed to be the spirits of the departed that are coming back. They come back on the stormy nights, and they walk about, and I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't get to see any of those, but next time I go D are you oh, now you take off just as I go to turn the camera back on. Yeah. Yeah, you go over there now. Alright, so let me show you the photos here. So these are my photos again. Let me pop these up here. Um, she's coming over. I'm gonna turn the camera on. Um, maybe she'll Are you gonna come over or not? You want this? I don't know, she's not going to. But this is so pretty, like, well, where the roof would have been at one time, now there's just this it's not really ivy, I'm not sure what type of plant material this is, but it does cover, the top of the archways here, and you can see some of these, crosses on these graves, you're gonna see a few here, they're about ready to fall in, um, but now you can see, look out here, there's the sea, and, yeah, so they've got these, big, huge uh-oh, she's gonna go after my mouse. "Why don't you just come over here and sit?" As she puts her toenails into me. Here, I'm gonna make it big again, since she's gonna be a weirdo. But you can see a lot of these, you can't even read the inscriptions on a lot of these anymore, but you can see where they're just kinda a lot of them are falling in, some have fallen over. Like I said, they're old, really old. Um, and there's a newer headstone, so like I said, they're still using I mean, this is still a burial ground. Yeah, gutters. I wish if we had cemeteries like this, oh my gosh. I have to be pulled out of these places when I go on trips. I don't wanna leave. Like, I will sit here and I will take a photo of every one of these Celtic crosses, every headstone. I get a little obsessed. But you can see here where some of these the slabs on top, I mean, they're broken up. I It's sad, but then it's also I think it just lends to the beauty of the place. Like this one that's closest to us, the Celtic cross there that's closest to us, I don't even that probably isn't even standing anymore unless they've come over and somehow got it to stand up, done something to prop it up there because the grave that it was on, like, that stone slab that was under it just completely, here, let me turn off that banner. Know why I don't think about that, sooner, but yeah, there we go. So you can see it's just kind of all crumbled away. I try not to get too close and look I don't know, they don't bury 6 feet deep necessarily in Ireland, so I don't look too close down into these little holes and stuff because yeah, um, like I said, one time I looked into a mausoleum and it's taken me a long time to look into one again because I saw a coffin that got tipped over and stuff was I don't want yeah. I love cemeteries. I don't wanna be frightened away from them. This is Liscannor Harbor, so this is County Clare, and yeah. My photo doesn't quite do it justice, but it is beautiful. This isn't even photoshopped. This is I mean, I could probably make it look even cooler if I did touch it up a little bit, but that is how blue the water is. I think this little stone structure that is to the left-hand side is, I think that is a holding house. I think that is where if the ground is too hard, it's too cold, I think that is where, um, the coffins can go until they can put you in the ground, if I'm not mistaken. It's the right size, it's right there, it doesn't look as it's not as old as the church, so it looks like it's a little newer, and it still has its roof. Um, but if you look down to the right, like, if you go down towards the sea there, there's new that's all n those are new, grave sites, all new headstones down there. But there's still like, there were still some up here above, up by the old church. Um, Gutter says, I'd be on my hands and knees." I used to, and then I saw oh, it freaked me out for a little while. for a long time. It took me a little while to get my courage up to start peeking back into these little holes and stuff again, but, odds are there's probably nothing as old as these graves are. I mean, these ones around the church are probably easily 300 years old. Uh, if there's something in there, it's dust. There might be a bone, like a leg bone or something, but there's probably not gonna be a whole lot else that's left there after 300 years. Um, what I saw in that mausoleum, it'd been there. I wish that's all I had seen. But, this is inside the church, inside the walls of it, so, this is an old you can't even read anything on this marker here anymore. This is looking out, back out towards the sea, and you can see the Celtic cross there of one of the I I don't know if that's no, that's not the one that's leaning, but that's one that's right there on that still on that same side. Um, and this is the archway that they say looks like, that makes it Gothic. I'm not into architecture. Um, and Girl Ryan, yeah, I wish I knew more about architecture. I love looking at these. I look at this archway and I'm like, "How is that still up?" It amazes me. Um, but you can see inside of here, once again, they don't waste any space. These graves are right next to each other. There's you you can't walk through there, you're gonna step on somebody's grave. So, it like I said, it's just letting the people know that are buried there that somebody's visiting. So, think of it that way. I don't know why, as Americans, we get all heebie-jeebie about that. I just walk and pay my respects. Don't be a jerk and you'll be fine. Um, and this cross here to the right, it is so worn away. I don't even know how old that one was. We just found this little church as we were out driving around, and, that you can't read anything on that, but it's so worn away. Once again, I wish I could see these, like, when they were, like, brand new. They're so beautiful. Here's some more of the inside. And yeah, so once this church stopped being a church, they just went in and started using that space for burials too. So, like I said, they don't waste space in Ireland. They're going to use every little inch that's there. This is one of the. I think this is would have been like one of the. What are they called? I want to say nave, but I may have my um but it's one of the rooms off to the side. So there's this little arched doorway, and this is a little enclosed area. It would have probably been some sort of room at one time. It's not in the main part of the church, and I think part of one of the walls is caved in on this one too, um, but you can see there's headstones over there as well. Um, this is I don't know how old this one is, but it's really beautiful. It's probably not too terribly old. I'm gonna say this is like the one on the right here, the cross with the roses and the ribbons. Um, I'm gonna say that it looks more Victorian. So, I mean, it's still old, but not as old as some of these other ones, but it's still really pretty. I love how even these older graves, they still like, you can tell they're still pretty well maintained. There's pebbles in this one. The other one looks like it was freshly raked, and taken care of. So even though, I mean, it kinda looks a little, um right, like you've got these graves all over. There is a method to their madness, I think. They do take care of them. Sometimes doing nothing is probably better than trying to go in and do anything else. Like this one on the right here, this one's fallen over. It is really old. I don't know if I might be able to see on the photo on my phone what it says. Um, but now this Celtic cross that's to the left here, if you look behind it, this is inside the church walls. That is a new headstone that is there. So or a newer headstone, so that's probably let me see if I can actually see that one too. Where is it? I should have kept these all in order on my phone too, but, is it this one? Yeah. That one is, last person buried there was 1978. So, yeah. So not too I mean, that's not too terribly long ago considering how old this church is. So, excuse me. Because you definitely can't read anything on that Celtic cross there anymore, but the one that's laying down says that one is I think it says 1911 on it. Um, Daniel Guthrie, oh, I can't make out the last name, um, and I can't read I think it gives his town name too, but, says he died May 22nd, 1911, and aged 40 years. So, there's a it's kinda worn away, so, yeah, so I can't see what town he was from. It says Ennis something, but, um, so s somewhere probably very close by if it's by the sea here, so, um, and there we go. This is one of my favorite photos ever, and Ryan, I think your name is in there somewhere, isn't it? I think it's that one headstone right there. Gotta look, let me look. Yep, it says Ryan. If you look all the way down to the which right, like, it's Ireland. There's gonna be a lot of, the names on those headstones. One says that there's Carrie, Ryan, and the one closest to us is Glenn. The one in the middle is the one that says Ryan on it. I was looking to see if I could, the one that is the black one that is just next to if you're looking at the Celtic cross, if you look right down there, that one says Farrell, and then behind that one, there's a red one that says Claire. I can't quite read what that other one says. It's a little too oh, wow, there's a not I Consone. That is not Irish. That sounds a little Italian. So, um, but yeah, that is I think that's it. I think that's all the ones I have. And there's St. Patrick again. Let's see. You need a red gutter right. Yeah, you better ask Gutters if you can borrow that, but if it's available, but alright, so let me pop back over here. Okay, that is oh my gosh, I didn't even think I had enough there to, fill, like, an hour and a half, so I'm pretty proud of myself that I got 2.5 hours out of that. I hope you guys liked these, I kinda wanna go back to my favorite photo, but hang on, it's somewhere here, um I'm gonna go back a ways because it's my favorite. This is on my wall right there. There we are, Glendalough. I gotta pay homage to County Wicklow and, my 100-year-old boyfriend that may still be alive, with his pub over and if he happens to hear this, I'm still available. So, yeah, call me. But it was a long time ago. Um He's for sure dead, right? Like, I was 25 he should be dead by now. but like I said, if he's not, hey, it's still here. But, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm glad that I finally actually put those all these cemetery photos from Ireland to use because not a lot of people understand, they wanna see the pretty pictures, right, like, of the coast and old houses and the mountains and the lakes and things of that nature. Um Usually the only way I can sneak in photos of the graveyards is like this one, it's because it is Glendalough, it's kind of a well-known spot, so that's about the only time that I can sneak in headstone photos to people, and then usually they're just kinda like, "Oh, that's really beautiful. Do you have any without headstones in it?" And I don't have many of the I've got a lot of Glendalough photos. I'll have to dig them up. Maybe for next St. Patrick's Day, I'll be able to find all my, 3 trips worth of photos. That'll take a couple hours at least to get through, so but, yeah, I hope I amazed you guys with my Irish, how I can actually pronounce some words, even though most of the time I can't. So, but that's what I got tonight. Thank you guys for spending St. Patrick's Day with me. Before it's over with, I'm gonna go have a giant glass of wine, um, in my traditional Irish wine glass that I have, and when I say traditional, it's just got a shamrock on it, so that's it. It's really not anything special, but, yeah, Thursday night, I am going to take you all to, um, Rose Hill Cemetery because I've been chomping at the bit to show you these. If you guys have been watching the shorts that I've been posting, I mean, you better be watching the shorts that I'm posting. I'm just please check them out if you haven't, because I'm gonna do some discussions. I've looked up the families attached to these, and I love heartbreaking stories. I don't know why. It makes my little black heart get excited, for whatever reason. I like the bittersweet ones, but I also kinda like I don't know, I gravitate towards the sad stories because I don't think a lot of people wanna talk about them, and I get that. But, yeah, the one story I wanna talk about is the short I posted of the sisters. It's that beautiful marble statue, and when I explain the family to you, it's going to put that monument into very clear perspective. You're gonna see why, these 2 sisters meant so much to each other. So, that is going to be Thursday, and then I've got a couple other ones that I'm gonna show you too. I'm kinda waiting to save, Frances Pierce Stone and her daughter, but I may show you guys that one Thursday since I've already posted her short, but that is the most beautiful carving memorial. It's just gorgeous. So go check out the short for that. That one is, Frances Pierce Stone. Her daughter is is interred there with her, and her name is also Frances Pierce Stone. So it was really hard trying to name that short because the Francises, yeah, I can barely say it. So, yeah, and yeah, uh, cut Cutter Ryan. Oh, uh-oh. Did you just unplug me? I think my cat just unplugged me over here, but, okay, I'm still alive, so I don't know what happened. She's over here playing with cords, that's my sign to go, but, I'm still gonna call you Girl Ryan. Alright, yeah, it's the baby, the baby and the mom, and, yeah. I'll do that one Thursday. I've already talked about her before, so I'm just gonna kinda rehash her story again, but, def show you the video that I got. She's spectacular. Can't say it enough. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Alright, before little Tansy the terror pulls the plug on us, good night, guys. I love you. Thank you for spending St. Patrick's Day with me, and I appreciate you all. And to all the newbies, welcome and thank you too for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. There's much more to come. I'm working hard. I really am. Even though I leave out a lot of stuff, I'm still working hard, trust me. Yeah. So I'm gonna go have my wine and I'm gonna do some more work, honestly, before I go to bed tonight. I've got some more stuff to look up for you guys because I want it to be a good show on Thursday. So, all right. Mwah. Love you guys. I'll see you Thursday night. And hey, there's 10 minutes left to St. Patrick's Day. So go do something. Go light a candle. Go light a candle for St. Patrick. Do that. And then I don't feel like I'm telling you guys to go drink or anything. All right, here we go. I don't think I have to cleanse you guys tonight. I think this is a pretty clean stream. So I'm just going to do